Life inside South Africa's toughest prison, Kimberley Prison. Imagine waking up every day, surrounded by walls that seem to close in on you. Steel bars, cold and unforgiving, separate you from the world outside. You share a small space with strangers, some of whom are in for life, some with nothing to lose. Every noise, every footstep echoes through these walls, carrying with it stories of broken lives, survival, and desperation. Welcome to Kimberley Prison, one of the toughest correctional facilities in South Africa. This isn't just a story about crime and punishment. It's about a place where the very notion of humanity is put to the test, a place where hope is often crushed by harsh reality, and where survival is the only language everyone understands. So, what does it actually take to survive life inside Kimberley? Let's step inside and find out. In the heart of the Northern Cape lies Kimberley Prison. Built to house some of the most dangerous criminals in South Africa, this is a facility known for its rigid rules, violent outbreaks, and unforgiving conditions. Kimberley Prison is not like any regular jail. Here, everything is intense. The atmosphere, the constant threat of violence, the guards' watchful eyes, all of it adds up to create an environment that is both claustrophobic and unnervingly open. With an official capacity of around 1,000 inmates, Kimberley often ends up overcrowded, pushing its resources and personnel to the limit. Overcrowding leads to increased tension and makes it challenging for guards to maintain order. Every cell, initially designed for 1 or 2 inmates, now houses several. Space is limited, privacy is non-existent, and personal boundaries are a luxury no one can afford. Each day here is a battle not just for freedom, but for survival itself. Life inside Kimberley is structured, but it's not a life anyone would want. The day begins at 5 a.m., when the prison lights snap on, flooding the cells with a harsh brightness. Inmates have a brief window to get dressed and prepare for the day. Breakfast, if you can call it, that is usually a thin porridge and a slice of bread. The food here is far from nutritious. It's simple, tasteless, and limited. For many inmates, meals are a time of vulnerability, as fights can break out over a piece of bread or an extra helping. The little food they get is strictly rationed, and many inmates lose significant weight within their first few months inside. After breakfast, inmates are taken out for their daily activities, but activities is a generous word. Some work in the prison's laundry or kitchen, while others are assigned to cleaning duties. These jobs offer a brief escape from the claustrophobia of the cell, but they come with their own risks. Even in these structured activities, danger lurks around every corner, as rivalries and gang conflicts can erupt in seconds. In the yard, tensions rise. Here, power dynamics are at their most visible. Gangs control the spaces, dividing territories and enforcing their own rules. For a new inmate, navigating this environment is a delicate balance. One wrong move, and you could end up with a target on your back. In Kimberley, gangs rule the underworld of the prison. They're not just groups of criminals, they're lifelines for those looking for protection, power, or even just a sense of belonging. There are 3 major gangs in Kimberley: the 26, the 27, and the 28. Each of these gangs has its own hierarchy, codes, and roles within the prison. The 26 are known for their cunning and street smarts, often specializing in money and smuggling operations. The 27 focus on loyalty and enforcement, often dealing with punishments within the prison. The 28 are seen as warriors, fiercely protective of their territory and pride. These gangs offer protection, but at a cost. Once you join, there's no easy way out. Every action is watched, every word analyzed. For some inmates, joining a gang is essential for survival. For others, it's a trap that only deepens their time inside. In this world, loyalty to the gang often outweighs loyalty to oneself. Many inmates lose their identities in the service of the gang, following orders without question, knowing that a single mistake could lead to punishment or even death. The guards at Kimberley face a constant struggle to maintain control. In such a volatile environment, every guard is aware that they are outnumbered, and any show of weakness could lead to disaster. They wear a stoic, often harsh expression, a mask to protect themselves as much as to intimidate the inmates. Corruption, however, is a persistent issue. Low salaries and high risks lead some guards to turn a blind eye to smuggling or, in some cases, actively participate in it. For the right price, a guard might allow a mobile phone, drugs, or even weapons to slip through the cracks. These items become invaluable tools for the inmates, giving them leverage and a rare sense of control over their lives. But corruption has a darker side. When guards are involved in the underground economy of the prison, it creates an environment where power is constantly shifting. Inmates who can pay for a guard's loyalty often find themselves with an upper hand, while others are left vulnerable. In Kimberley, loyalty is as much a commodity as money. Guards and inmates alike navigate a treacherous world where trust is scarce, and every favor comes at a price. Being locked up in Kimberley isn't just a physical ordeal, it's a psychological one. The constant noise, the lack of privacy, and the unyielding routine all wear down an inmate's sense of self. In such an environment, mental health issues are common, yet support is limited. Inmates suffer from depression, anxiety, and in many cases, severe trauma. For those serving life sentences, the sense of hopelessness is even greater. Therapy is rare, and most inmates have no outlet for their emotions. They're left to process their pain and regrets alone, often leading to destructive behaviors or violent outbreaks. For some, the only escape is through self-harm or suicide. Kimberley has seen its share of tragic endings, with inmates unable to bear the weight of their confinement. In such an environment, every day becomes a test of mental endurance, a battle to hold onto whatever humanity remains. In this grim environment, hope is a rare but precious thing. Some inmates turn to religion, finding solace in faith that offers them a reason to endure. Prayer groups and Bible studies offer a brief escape from the harsh realities of prison life, giving inmates a chance to reflect on their choices and, in some cases, seek forgiveness. Others focus on education and personal growth. Kimberley offers limited but valuable educational programs, allowing inmates to study, earn certificates, and in some cases, even complete a degree. These programs represent a lifeline, a chance to leave prison with something more than scars. There are a few success stories, individuals who, despite the odds, manage to turn their lives around. But these are exceptions. For most, Kimberley remains a place where dreams fade and hope is extinguished. Every day is a struggle, a fight to hold onto even the smallest flicker of purpose. For those who do make it out, the world outside is both a promise and a threat. Former inmates of Kimberley often find themselves returning to society with the weight of their experiences still heavy on their shoulders. The stigma of having been in Kimberley can make it difficult to find work or rebuild relationships. Many end up falling back into crime, finding themselves once again behind the same bars they fought so hard to escape. But for a few, the experience of Kimberley serves as a harsh lesson. They take their past and use it as fuel for change, working with organizations to prevent others from making the same mistakes. These individuals become voices for reform, advocates who know the true cost of a life behind bars. Life inside Kimberley Prison is a journey into a world few will ever see, a world defined by fear, violence, and survival. It's a place where the line between right and wrong blurs, and where the very concept of humanity is tested daily. For the inmates, each day is a fight against their environment, against their own minds, and sometimes even against each other. And yet, within this darkness, there are small sparks of hope, flickers of change, and stories of resilience. Kimberley may be a prison, but it is also a mirror. It reflects the harsh realities of society, the consequences of violence, and the cost of lost opportunities. It challenges us to question not only how we punish, but also how we rehabilitate, how we offer a second chance, and how we can turn even the darkest places into beacons of change. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes, understanding what goes on behind these walls can help us make changes beyond them.